Although it's winter, the weather has been perfect for camping. The lows have been in the 50s and the highs have been in the 60s. And yes, it is raining a little bit, but for me, it is perfect weather for camping. The rain hasn't been too wild today. It comes and it goes, and it hasn't really washed out the roads too bad. I do have a little mud on the tires from trying to come up a steeper incline last night. And the main thing I learned by trying to get up that incline is that even though this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, it does have more road tires and not off-road tires. And so when I get in those muddy conditions, I don't really have the traction that I had hoped and wanted I would have with the all-wheel drive system. For additional storage on the Honda Pilot, I do have this trunk box that I have bolted onto this hitch carrier. I have about 40 random screws that I use to screw that down. Sometimes it's funny because if I get in front of somebody while I'm driving, I can see that they're curious whether or not that is tied down, because from the outside, it doesn't look like it's tied down, but it's definitely very secure. It's not going anywhere. I can jiggle it, and I'll show you inside of that in a second. I also have up above me this fuel 16 cubic foot storage carrier, and that thing I can fit quite a bit of stuff in. So between that and this cargo box, I have probably about 30 cubic feet of additional storage, which is quite a bit in my opinion. And if you really need that much stuff, you're probably planning to be off grid for quite a while. I certainly got some mud on the tires when I was trying to scout this area out last night. I tried to get down here. I actually made it down. I got turned around and I thought I got to the top. And as I got to the top, I kind of like lost traction right here, and I had to take a couple of shots to try to get back out of here. So this is the spot. I think this is a perfect place to pitch a tent. It does look like I'm on a trail, but the trail pretty much dead ends right there. So I think the only people that come through here might be on a four-wheeler. There's also another good spot. We'll go walk down there and check that out. This is the other spot I had considered pitching my tent, but unfortunately, it's a little bit too much of a slant. If I pitch my tent here tonight, I'm just gonna be sliding down all night when I'm sleeping. It's not something I'm really interested in doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get the vehicle back down in there. If I get stuck, my buddy does have a winch and a four-wheel drive vehicle, and hopefully tomorrow he'll be able to pull me out of there. All right. So it is raining again, and after looking at the video of me coming down the hill, I might regret coming down it. The front wheels were locked up and I was just sliding down the hill. The worst case would be that I get some chains and I get pulled out with a local tractor or a four-wheel drive vehicle. The days are a little short because it is winter and it seems to be getting dark. So what I want to do now is get my sleeping bag and my sleeping mat set up in the SUV. I normally use a regular pillow, but because I was trying to travel lightly, I have this little inflatable pillow. It's perfect. I don't like to overinflate it because then it becomes like so hard. My head feels like it's bouncing off of it. But in this case, it's going to be perfect for the 1 or 2 nights I'm going to be out here. So this is my tent and my sleeping mat right here. I'm just going to use this sleeping mat tonight. And the sleeping mat is a little wide, so I'll be able to fit on it and roll around a little bit without falling off and sliding all over the place. So that was about 10 good breaths. Perfect. And the last thing I need to kind of stay warm throughout the night is just this simple sleeping bag. It's rated at like 40 degrees, so it wouldn't help me, you know, in the snow or anything, but again, it's super light and it'll keep me warm throughout the night. There you have it. I have a simple camping setup, camping my Honda Pilot tonight. No issues. I'm going to stay dry. It's going to rain a little bit. And then behind me, I'm going to start a little fire. So this little fire start cube I use to start these fires, I don't remember exactly how much they cost, but I have like a little box of 20 of them. And pretty much every time I go to start a fire, it starts first time, first try, no issues. This thing will burn for probably 20 minutes by itself. But I'll show you my fire here in a second. There's a perfect pile of pallets right here. I'm gonna drag those over behind the vehicle and see if I can get a little fire started. So the other main ingredient that I use, I do burn all of my paper and cardboard products that I have with me. I don't burn any plastic, but those things do burn pretty quickly. The only disadvantage to burning pallets like this is they burn super quick. So if I want to keep this fire going, I either have to go find a bunch more pallets or go get some wood from my surrounding area. So the only other thing I wanted to be able to accomplish while I'm in West Virginia is to visit the New River Gorges National Park. That national park has free dispersed camping. So I do have the tent here that if I need to, I will use that. The only possible issue that I may have at the national park is that it is the middle of winter and we are projected to have rain pretty solidly starting this evening for the next couple of days. And so if we have rain like that, I may not end up camping out there. But I'm not afraid to camp in the rain. It's more a matter of getting out there and getting set up safely. I have heard a four-wheeler up the hill here. It might be the property owner coming out to check on me and see what I've got going on. This is a free site for me, so I'm pretty happy to have this site kind of to myself, and I definitely welcome the owner coming down to visit me while I'm out here. I normally shave my face, and this is going to be a huge pain to get rid of in a few days when I get back home. But I wanted to fit in a little better while I'm in West Virginia. So the landowner here, I actually call him Mountain Man Steve, And when he comes down to visit, you're gonna see why I call him Mountain Man Steve. Hey, Mountain Man Steve, how you doing?
Pretty good. I thought I'd bring you a little drink of purified water.
So I'm pretty happy that Steve's let me visit his property out here. And the best part about it is free, it costs nothing, and it's a really great place. I'm out in the middle of the country.
Nobody else comes down here.
Yeah.
This is pretty well out in nowhere. That might be wicked. Good tasting.
So he did choose the right mode of transportation coming out here. And Steve has told me that if I do end up getting stuck out here, he'll either pull a tractor down or a four-wheel drive truck and pull me out of this location. Hey, Steve, I appreciate you letting me burn these pallets.
Well, it makes a nice fire. They burn quick, but get a little warm fire.
While packing to come out here, I didn't bring any chairs or a table. I do have my tough box here that is a perfect flat surface if I do need a table, and Mountain Man Steve is running up to get some chairs so that we can enjoy this fire, sit down and relax for a little while before the sun sets. While Steve is going up to get the chairs, let me show you inside of my tough box. So you can see the tough box has not held up well to the salt. These hasps or latches were a chrome, and over the last few years of use, they have gotten a little more rusty every time I've used it. Originally bought this hitch rack off of Amazon about 4 or 5 years ago, solely to attach things like a tough box to it. And I was originally using tie down straps and all of this stuff, but I got tired of messing with the straps every time I used it. And so what I decided to do was match it perfectly to the vehicle. And I'll show you real quick. As I hit that button to lower the hatch, that it just clears it. It cleared it by about 1 inch. You can see inside of the tough box, I want to say there's probably about 40 self-tapping screws. Those self-tapping screws are in the metal structure of the hitch rack, and this tough box is not moving anywhere. In fact, now that I'm looking inside of it, where the self-tapping screws are attached in the tough box, it does not appear to have any damage at all. When I'm traveling with this tough box, I don't usually put anything heavy in it. I usually put stuff like pillows, blankets, maybe extra clothes. You know, I have put all kinds of random stuff, but I don't put anything super heavy in there. I'm gonna give you another shot of that thing opening without touching. So I don't know if you could see that, but it was literally like 1 inch of clearance. And because of that, the tough box is to the back of the tray. It's perfect for me. And occasionally I'll actually put a little step ladder back here, and that step ladder will help me get into my roof rack and my roof box much easier while I'm traveling around. Believe it or not, one day I was walking through my neighborhood and I saw this Fuelie 16-liter roof box next to someone's trash can, and there was a sign on it that said lock broken, free to anybody who wants it. And so, you know, I don't normally like to be a dumpster diver, but these roof boxes are super expensive, and I picked it up and I brought it home. In the joint, there are these 2 little red buttons, and the red buttons have to be pushed down by the locking mechanism for the key cylinder to operate. And so what happened was the original owner somehow turned the cylinder without those things being depressed, basically causing the lock to be useless. And so after messing with it for a little while, I was able to put the key in and then depress those 2 red tabs with a screwdriver while turning the cylinder, and then I realigned it, and I have not had a problem since. I do think that the keys are potentially a little fragile, and so whenever I open this and close it, I make sure that the key is moving smoothly before I put any pressure on it, and sometimes I jiggle the roof just a little bit to make sure that it's lined up properly. If you're someone who's really into matching your gear, you will see that I have an Ino roof rack, I have a Fuelie roof box, and then I have this Yakima roof rack right here as well. For me, it's been more about functionality, so I'm not super worried about the name brands of those things. In fact, that Ino roof rack, I had the feet from a Honda Fit that I owned probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and I simply bought some longer bars to go across the roof, and I tried it and it worked. Except for this foot right here, it does look like it's kind of close to the paint. I have ran this roof rack for quite a while, taking it off, putting it back on without any issues with the roof. Every time I use this kind of mismatched roof rack, I do worry that I'm going to damage the paint on the roof, but I have not done that yet. And if I damage it a little bit, the fun that I'm going to have in the process of doing it far outweighs the worry of damaging the paint job on the vehicle. So it looks like Steve's coming back with the chairs. So Steve, how long have you lived out here in West Virginia?
All my life, West Virginia. 15 years here on this farm. And usually nobody comes down here and bothers me, so.
You want to tell me about how you get water in your house?
I got a 300-gallon tank in the back of the truck, and we take it out to the fire hydrant about 5 miles out, and then we truck the water in. But we get free water until they put the water line out here.
How long you been doing that for?
15 years now.
Wow. So I have filmed with my iPhone all day, and what I want to do is just plug it in and see if I can just let it sit for about an hour before the sun sets and charge it up. Spiking up to about 12 watts. So far tonight, the rain has held off. I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to leave the tailgate up while I'm sleeping or not, but the sun has set, and I'm using this little light right here to light up the tailgate, but everywhere outside besides the fireplace there is pretty much pitch black. Well folks, it looks like the fire is about out. I'm gonna go get my sleeping bag in the SUV, and I'm gonna have a great night's sleep, and I'll see you guys on the next adventure.